We now head to our first heat for DD2, and the rain is still coming down. Obviously, one of the more iconic microclimates is around about 100 kilometers south of our position, Spa-Francorchamps. DD2, heat 1 for them, race 4 of the meeting. Glenn van Parijs, our pole position sitter on the 400 entry, will start on pole. Ville Villelainen will start alongside in the 462. Mattis Malinovskis and Mick Knowlton, that is row number 2 itself. Chris Seiders and Matthias Lund, that is row 3. Sebastian Janchevski and Martin van Looyen rounds out the top 4 rows, with Ronny Göttler from Germany and Walter Svidris from Latvia rounding out the top 10. Row 6, it's an all-German affair. Fabian Bock and Hannes Border rounding out the top 12 positions on the grid, ahead of Frederik Jährich, Aymeric Gerhard, Peter Bezel, Lucas Horsman, Sebastian de Grand, Luc Schiepers and Luca Minoretto. So 19 drivers, they'll have 10 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap. So they've just completed the sighting lap, and onto the formation lap they go. So Van Parijs, second in the championship last season, managed to better everybody, including reigning and defending champion Zandvoort Schiblak, who has switched to SP Motorsport for 2021. So the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. Drivers getting a feel for the conditions once again. And one of the key points is always the start phase. We've had one full start, courtesy of the juniors in the previous heat. So our race director will always ensure that he talks to the drivers on the front row, just to tell them what the situation is, how he wants it to play out, how he wants it to be controlled in order for us to go lights out. And with over 150 drivers, it's never easy to tell a driver an instruction, especially when they're about to go into battle. But it's Van Parijs, Villelainen, Malinovskis, Knowlton, Seiders, Lund, Janchevski, Van Looyen. With Göttler and Svidris, that is your top 10. They now come into the tram lines. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights out, and we're off and racing, in a great cat-like start there from Glenn van Parijs as he hurtles his way into the lead into turn 1. As Ville Villelainen trying to go through with him. It was nearly 3 abreast, courtesy of Mick Knowlton going through turn 2, but Van Parijs keeps ahead for the moment. And Matthias Lund has got himself up into 4th position, but it looks like he's having a battle side by side going through into turn number 5. That looks to be Chris Seiders from Latvia, that has got himself up into a further position. All results being called up here in the commentary box are provisional, pending any sporting and technical checks or discussions behind the scenes. But looking rather close at the front end of the field as everyone trying to make their way through. We have got one driver languishing a little bit further down towards the back of the field. That could be Aymeric Gerhard in the, with RM Concept. But the leaders making their way through into turn 11 as we are about to approach the completion of lap. And it's Martin van Looyen that has actually made his presence felt, because now he's gone up the inside of Mick Knowlton coming out of turn 12. The Dutch driver really flying in these wet weather conditions, as Villelainen trying to hold on for second, but Van Looyen goes up the inside, takes a tight apex. Oh, and a great avoidance there by Glenn van Parijs to try and get actually past him before turn 3 even happened. And the Belgian, running the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux this year in the brand new 992 Porsche 911 Cup car. As Mick Knowlton trying to get past Ville Villelainen for 3rd place, with Matthias Lund from Denmark hunting them down. And so we've got 2 Latvians in the form of Walter Svidris and Chris Seiders, both from Burlat Baltics, rounding out the top 7. Peter Bezel up into 8th. Mattis Malinovskis in 9th position, and he started on the inside of row 2. Jährich from Austria rounds out the top 10. Luca Minoretto's already got himself up 4 positions having started 19th on the grid. He's up to P15, so the Italian trying to make his way up the order. He has actually made up a couple more positions, so I would think he's probably in P13 as Matthias Lund looks up the inside of Mick Knowlton through turn 12, but Knowlton shuts the door rather convincingly. Across the line to complete lap 2. Van Parijs starting to stretch out a lead. Martin van Leuven trying to close him down. Ville Vilainen in 3rd. Mick Knowlton 4th. Matthias Lund in 5th. Svidris, Peder Bezel, Matis Malinowskis now resurgent up into 8th place as Knowlton was looking up the inside of Vilainen going through into turn number 3. But Vilainen had the pure pace. Oh, there's been a bit of a tangle, and that has involved Luca Minoretto and Sebastian Janchevski. So the Italian fired it up the inside through the inside of turn 3. And the pair came to a bit of wheel banging, let's say. But Van Parijs trying to just keep a hold of proceedings, but the rain is still coming down. And the standing water has started to envelop this circuit on multiple different points on the racing line and off the racing line, as drivers really trying to go brave and then some. Oh, we've had a tangle through turn 9. Oh my goodness, someone was absolutely sideways. A little bit of a clash, front bumper to side pod. And one driver was very, very lucky indeed. I think that was the 481. That was Fabian Bock that went sideways coming out of turn 9. That was definitely a moment that he will definitely not want to remember now. But he's just got to get on with the job at hand. Graduated from seniors to DD2s this season. Showed great prowess in the kickoff and round 1 of the BNL karting series as Amérique Guérin is possibly, well, there's drivers just trying to squabble over positions. Amérique Guérin has just had someone fire it up the inside of him going through, and that looks to be Sebastian de Grand. Well, de Grand's definitely getting his elbows out. Guérin is in 13th position at the minute, and these drivers, they might be in a gearbox, not in a direct drive kart, but there's a different skill involved with this. You've got to have a bit of modulation, a bit of anticipation. What is the kart going to do? Is it going to break traction? Is it going to be understeering into the corner? When I put the throttle down, where do I need to do that in this particular corner? What about the next one? You're planning. You're using, you know, that sort of experience, that racecraft that you've gathered. And when you look at some of the drivers in this field, I mean, Van Parijs, you know, going back into Porsches this year, he has a lot of experience with rear-wheel drive machinery, as now Van Leuven trying to go up the inside. Oh, cheeky switch back there from Glenn Van Parijs to retake the lead once again. Van Leuven just sent it going through turn 2, but Van Parijs had full confidence and he said, oh, no, you don't, sunshine, and he got back past him before the apex of turn 3. And you can just see how different the styles are between these drivers. Great battle there between Ville Vilainen, Mick Knowlton and Matthias Lund. Lund still on the back bumper of Mick Knowlton, but Peder Bezel has been flying. Started 15th, now up into 6th position. So the Czech driver is currently the fastest out there. His best lap time last time around on the completion of lap 4, a 1 minute 13.083. So the drivers have 4 minutes, so 6 minutes down, 4 to go, plus 1 additional lap. And Van Parijs continues to lead. It was 4/10 last time. The gap between him and Martin van Leuven is now extended to just under 0.68 of a second. And Peder Bezel now puts in the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 13.060 from the 402 from KSCA Study Europe. Zaiders and Malinowskis now get ahead of Svidris, so that is a trio of Latvians, rounding out 7th, 8th and 9th. 10th, it's Belgium's Sebastian de Grand. Luc Schiepers in 11th, Frederik Jarich down in 12th, Amérique Guérin, Fabian Bock, Sebastian Janchevski, and then Luca Minoretto. They round out the top 16 positions. And so the back part of the field is all. Mick Knowlton had a sniff up the inside going through turn 8 on Vilainen, but Vilainen knew the move was coming and anticipated it and just shut the door. But Matthias Lund looking a bit closer as Vililainen goes a little bit wide going through the right-hand sweeper at turn 10. Knowlton trying to get a run, as is Matthias Lund. And Petter Bezel is just, he's got the ringside seat there. So he's been closing in. Whilst those three have been battling away, Mick Knowlton takes a look over his right shoulder to see where Matthias Lund is, but then he'll also see where Petter Bezel is on this particular occasion. As Matthias Lund looking up the inside, going through into turn 3. Knowlton keeps it wide, but Lund and Knowlton struggle for traction. Lund up the inside for P4 through turn 4. And literally, as they planted the throttles down, both back ends of those carts were going, they were squirming from left to right. So on that particular occasion, Mick Knowlton lost out. However, he can still fight back, but Petter Bezel from the Czech Republic is not too far adrift, as we have just 1 minute and 50 seconds of this first of several DD2 heats. And they will have 6 in total. So it has been a pretty, well, I wouldn't call it completely comfortable, but a straightforward first race for Glenn Van Parijs, because now it goes across the line. We'll have this plus two more laps, so we'll hit 10 laps of racing. It's just over that's 13.6 kilometres in total race distance. As Petter Bezel up the inside of Mick Knowlton. Knowlton takes a tight line after going wide at turn 2, but to get the traction through on that X-Bree chassis, he made it work, so Petter Bezel has to wait and bide his time for another opportunity. Right, yellow flags at Marshall Post 7, and Marshall running to the scene as someone looks to have been off of turn number 12, and that looks to be Matis Malinovskis. Oh, now that's a fall from grace, unfortunately. The 4:14 started on P3. He is now stone dead last, 19th out of this contingent. So battle for third position could be one to watch here, but also the battle for the lead, because now the two leaders, Van Parijs and Van Leuven, go through turn 12, followed by Vililainen, Lund, Knowlton and Petter Bezel. On to the penultimate lap we go. Van Parijs' lead now has been truncated to the point of 0.55 of a second, and Van Leuven is the only driver to go sub 73 seconds, as now there's been a drama. Now that looks to be that it is Vililainen that went off onto the grass going into turn 2. So the Finn on the back foot is now behind Mick Knowlton, who also has just had Petter Bezel get past him. So Matthias Lund into 4th place as a result of the slight error from Vililainen. So even drivers of his experience in terms of Vililainen having their own dramas, as Mick Knowlton looked a little bit closer to Petter Bezel going through into turn 8. So Knowlton closing on the 4:02 from the Czech Republic. Last lap board now being prepared on the start-finish straight. And Van Parijs, his gap was 0.55 of a second ahead of Martin van Leuven from the Netherlands. Matthias Lund rounds out the top 3. Van Parijs puts the hammer down, out of the final corner. Across the line he goes, onto the last lap. And he puts in the fastest lap of anybody. A 1 minute 12.864 gap now has nearly been doubled, as Van Leuven went and did a 1 minute 13.3. Matthias Lund sets the personal best and closes to within 2.6 seconds approximately on Van Leuven, but I think for the Dane it's going to be a tall order to close that up in just one single solitary lap. Petter Bezel and Mick Knowlton in 4th and 5th. Vililainen, 6th. Chris Seiders from Latvia, Sebastian de Grand, Luke Scheepers and Valter Svidris ran out the top 10 positions. So our leader, Glenn Van Parijs, making his way through into turn 9 for the final time. And after the overall classification of qualifying, he was the fastest driver at 53.304. And in the next heat, we'll see Zana Triblak getting his elbows out for the first time in Euro Trophy competition on a new chassis and with a new team. But Van Parijs gets his racing season here in the Euro Trophy underway with a consummate, comfortable victory ahead of Martin van Leuven from the Netherlands. 1.7 seconds was the difference at the end of it, and Van Parijs over the last 2 laps put in sub 1 minute 13 second lap times. So he'll be very, very happy with that performance. Mathias Lund from Denmark started in 6th, finished in 3rd place. Peter Bezel from the Czech Republic started down in 15th and finished in 4th, ahead of Mick Knowlton from the Netherlands, who started 4th. Mick Knowlton, our runner-up in the championship fight between him and Hannes Morin in 2018 when they were both seniors. He finishes P5. Ville Villelainen in 6th. Chris Seiders, Sebastian de Grand having a great performance. Started 17th and gained 9 positions to finish in 8th place. Luke Scheepers, Frederik Jarich rounding out the top 10. Walter Zwiedris in 11th. Aymeric Gerhard, Fabian Bock. Luca Muraretto recovered to finish in 14th, but I've just seen that Fabian Bock has got a 5-second post-race penalty for pushing, so that will drop the German down into 15th place. So Muraretto will take 13th ahead of Janchevski. Fabian Bock in 15th ahead of Ronny Göttler. Hannes Border, Matis Malinovskis and Lukas Horstmann rounding out the 19 strong.